I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility. I suppose that's why the old one was a little bored when we are together. Cecily, I'm surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. You must remember that unfortunate young man is right.
I wish I could travel around that unfortunate young man with brother from around here sometimes. You and I might have a good influence on his prison. I know you would. You know German and geography, and things like that you could plan very much.
I do not think even I could produce any effect on a character who, by his own brother's admission, is irretrievably weak and fascinating. And I'm not sure I would desire to reclaim him. I'm not in favor of this modern mania of turning bad people into good at a moment's notice. As a man sows, so shall you reap. You must put away that diary, Cecily. I don't see why you should keep a diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter all the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget or forget.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary we all carry around with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles things that haven't happened and could possibly have happened. I believe the memory is responsible for nearly all the three-volume novels that we sent us.
Do not speak slightingly of the three-volume novel. I wrote them myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How clever you are! I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily, the bad unhappily. That's what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was it ever published?
Alas, no. The manuscript unfortunately was abandoned. To your work, child, these speculations are profitless.
Ah, but I see Dr. Cheshire coming up through the garden.
Dr. Cheshire, this is indeed a pleasure.
Hello, this morning. Miss Prism, you are, I trust, well.
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Cheshire.
Cecily, I mentioned nothing about having a headache.
No, dear Miss Prism, I know that, but I felt instinctively that you had a headache. In fact, I was thinking of that along my journey lesson when you actually came in.
I hope, Cecily, you're not inattentive.
Oh, I'm afraid I am.
Oh, well, that is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang on for this. My metaphor was drawn from bees. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has not returned to town yet.
We do not expect it until Monday afternoon.
Yes. He usually likes to spend his Sunday in London. He is not one of those who so lay his enjoyment as by all accounts that unfortunate young man his brother seems to be. But I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer.
Egeria, my name is Letitia, Doctor.
Ah, the classical allusion there from the paper office. I can see you both no doubt. It keeps us on.
I think I shall have a stroll with you after all, Doctor. I do find I have a headache, and a walk might do it.
Oh, with pleasure, Miss Prism, with pleasure. We might go as far as the schools and that.
That would be delightful. Cecily, in my absence, you will read your political economy. The chapter on the fall of the rupee you may omit. It is somewhat too sensational. Even these metallic problems have their melodramatic parts.
Horrid political economy, horrid geography, horrid German. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B40, Albany, W. Uncle Jack's brother? Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Oh, yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He told me he was anxious to speak to you quietly for a moment.
Well, I don't think Miss Prism would like my being alone with him, so I'd better send for him at once before she comes in. Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here.
You mustn't think that I am wicked.
If you are not, then you have certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. You may, Uncle Jack, believe that you are very wicked and bad. I hope you have not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Oh, of course I have been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
In fact, now that you mention the subject, I have been very bad in my own small way.
I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I'm sure it must have been rather pleasant.
It is much pleasanter being here with you.
I can't understand how you are here at all. Uncle Jack will be back till Monday afternoon.
That's a great disappointment to me. I'm obliged to go by the first train on Monday morning. I have a business appointment that I am anxious to miss.
But couldn't you listen anywhere but in London?
No, the appointment is in London.
Well, I know, of course, how important it is not to keep a business engagement if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life. But still, I think you'd better wait until he returns. I know he wants to speak with you about your emigrating.
About my what?
About your emigrating. He has gone up to buy your outfit.
I certainly wouldn't let Jack buy my outfit. He has no taste in neckties at all.
I don't think that you will require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, at dinner on Wednesday night, he said that you would have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
No, well, the accounts I've received from Australia and the next world are not particularly encouraging. This world is good enough for me, Cousin Cecily?
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
Oh, I'm afraid I'm not that. That is why I want you to reform me. You might make that your mission if you don't mind, Cousin Cecily.
But how dare you suggest that I have a mission?
I beg your pardon, but I thought that every woman has a mission nowadays.
Every female has. A woman. Besides, I have no time to reform you this afternoon.
Well, would you mind my reforming myself this afternoon?
It's rather consoling me, but I think you should try.
I will. I feel better already.
You are looking a little worse.
That's because I'm hungry.
Oh, how thoughtless of me! I should have remembered that when one is trying to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Uncle Jack, whose health has been sadly undermined by the late hours from Peter's house, has been ordered by his London doctor to have patent foie gras sandwiches and 1889 champagne at noon. I don't know if such England fare would suit you.
No, I'll be quite content with 89 champagne, thank you. But might I have a buttonhole first? I never have any appetite unless I have a buttonhole first.
A red Chardonnay?
No, I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like pink rose, Cousin Cecily.
I don't think it can be right for you to say such things to me. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
And Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
You're a snare to every sensible man who likes to be potted.
Well, I don't think I would care to catch a sensible man. I shouldn't know what to talk to him about.
You are too much alone, dear Dr. Chashable. You should get married. A misanthrope I can understand. A woman don't never.
Oh, I do not deserve so neologistic a phrase. The precept as well as the practice of the primitive church was distinctly against matrimony.
That is obviously fine. The primitive church has not lasted up to the present day. And you don't seem to realize, dear doctor, that by persistently remaining single, a man converts himself into a perfect public temptation. Men should be more careful. This very celibacy needs weaker vessels.
Wow. But is not a man equally attractive when married?
No married man is ever attractive, except to his wife.
Oh, then often not to talk about even to her.
That depends upon the intellectual sympathies of the woman. Maturity can be depended on. Rightness can be trusted. Young women agree. I spoke on culture. My metaphor was drawn from fruits. But where is Cecily?
Perhaps she followed us to the school.
Mr. Worthy.
Mr. Worthy?
We didn't expect you back until Monday afternoon.
I have returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Joshua, I hope you're well.
Oh, dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother.
More shameful deaths and extravagances?
Still leading his wife of pleasure?
Dead.
Your brother Earnest is dead.
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it.
Death is the inheritance of us all, this prison. Nor should we look upon it as a special judgment, but rather as general providence. Life would be incomplete without it. Oh, dear Mr. Worthing, I offer you my sincere condolence. You at least have the consolation of knowing you were the most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Ah, yes, very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No, he died abroad in Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
Ah, was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
As a man sows, so shall he reap.
Oh, charity, dearest peasant charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am peculiarly susceptible to drops. But will the interpret take place here?
No, he seemed to have expressed a desire to be buried in Paris.
Oh, in Paris, all that horribly poised to a very serious state of mind at the last. Ah, you would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. Ah, my sermon on the meaning of the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion. Or, as in the present case, distressing. I have preached it at harvest celebrations, christenings, confirmation, on days of humiliation, and festival days. The last time I delivered it was at the cathedral, as a charity sermon, in behalf of the Society for the Prevention of Discontent among the upper orders. The bishop who was present was much struck by some of the analogies I drew.
And that reminds me, you mentioned christening, I think, Dr. Joshua. I suppose you know how to christen, all right? I mean, of course, you're all completely Christian, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the reckless, most constant duties in our parish. I have often spoken to the poor people on the subject, but they don't seem to understand what thrift is.
Oh, the church rejects no baptism in every child is the making of a saint. Ah, but is there any particular child in whom you're interested, Mr. Worthing? Your brother was, I believe, married, was he not?
Oh, yes.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
But it's not really a child, Doctor. Well, the fact of the matter is, I would like to be christened myself this afternoon, if you have nothing better to do.
But sure, Mr. Worthing, surely you've been christened already.
I don't remember anything about it.
Ah, but have you any grave doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. Of course, I don't know the whole thing would bother you in any way, or think I'm a little too old now.
Oh, not at all, not at all. Sprinkling, and indeed the immersion of adults is a perfectly canonical practice.
Immersion?
Oh, you need have no apprehension. Sprinkling is all that is necessary, or indeed, I think, advisable. Our weather is so changeable. At what hour would you like the ceremony performed?
I might trot round about 5 if that would suit you.
Perfectly, perfectly. The fact is, I have two similar ceremonies to perform at that time. A case of twins that recently occurred in one of the outlying cottages of your own estate. Poor Mr. Jenkins, a most hard-working man.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be christened with other babies. It would be childish. But how past 5 do you?
Ah, admirably, admirably. Ah, and now, Mr. Worthing, I will intrude any longer. I will not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I will merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us to be bitter trials are often blessings in disguise.
This seems to me to be a blessing of an extremely obvious kind.
Oh, Uncle Jack! Oh, I'm so pleased to see you back. What a torrid clothes you have put on. Do go and change.
See, Sylvia,
My child, my child.
Well, what is the matter, Uncle Jack? You look as if you had a toothache, and I've got such a surprise for
all means. My brother in the dining room? I think it's perfectly absurd. Good heavens.
Brother. Come down from town, I'll tell you that I'm very sorry for all the trouble that I have given you in the past, and I intend to live a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think it's coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Oh, young man, you have had a narrow escape of your life. We warned you. We were mourning your demise when you entered.
Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, who he goes to visit so often. And surely there must be much good in one who is kind to an invalid and leaves the pleasures of London to sit by a bed of pain.
He's been talking about Bunbury, has he?
Oh, yes. He has told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Well, I won't have him talking about Bunbury or anything else. It's enough that I got perfectly frightened.
Oh, dear Mr. Worthing, your brother has been unexpectedly restored to you by the mysterious dispensations of Providence, who seems to desire your reconciliation. Indeed, it is good for brothers to dwell together in amity.
Of course, I admit the faults were all on my side, but I must say I find Brother John's coldness to be peculiarly painful. I expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially since it is the first time I've come here.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me.
Never, never, never.
Well, it's the last time I shall ever do it.
Ah, it is pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation? I think we might leave the brothers together.
You will come with us, Cecily.
Certainly, Miss Prism, my little task of reconciliation is over.
You have done a beautiful action today, my child.
We must not be premature in our judgments.
I feel very happy.
You young scoundrel. You'll have to get out of this place as soon as possible. I don't allow any Bunbury here.
Mr. Earnest things in the room next to yours, sir. I suppose that is all right.
What?
His luggage. I have unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage?
Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I'm afraid I can't stay more than a week this time.
Merriman, order the dog cart at once. Mr. Earnest has been suddenly called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful liar you are, Jack. I've not been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
I haven't heard anyone call me.
Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasures in the smallest degree.
I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to speak of Cecily. I don't like it.
And I don't like your clothes. You look perfectly ridiculous. Why on earth don't you go up and change? It's perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who is actually staying with you for a whole week in your house.
There's certainly no chance of you staying with me an entire week as a guest or anything else. Besides, you have to leave by the 4:05 train.
Well, I certainly won't leave you either morning. You'd be most unfriendly. If I were in the morning, you would stay with me, I suppose. I should think it very unkind if you didn't.
Where will you leave if I change my clothes?
Yes, if you were not too long. I never saw anybody take so long to dress, and with such little result.
Well, at any rate, it's better than always being overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally a little overdressed, I make up for it by being always immensely overeducated.
Your fancy is ridiculous, and your conduct an outrage, and your presence in my garden utterly absurd. However, you have to leave by the 4:05 train, and I hope you have a pleasant journey back to town. This Bunbury, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
I think it has been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily, and that is everything. But I must see her before I go and make arrangements for another Bunbury.
Oh, I really came down to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's gone to order the dog cart for me.
Oh, is he going to take you for a
send me away.
And have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It is a very painful parting.
It is always painful to part with one who has just been introduced. The absence of all friends one can endure with equanimity, but even a momentary separation from anyone with whom one has just met is almost unbearable.
The door is at the door, sir.
It can wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes.
Yes, please.
I hope, Cecily, I shall not offend you if I state quite openly and frankly that you seem to me in every way to be the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep a diary, Cecily? I'd give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh, no. You see, it's very simply a young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. If it appears in copy form, I hope you will order a copy. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down your dictation. I reach absolute perfection. You may go on, I'm quite ready to know. Oh, don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I know how to spell cough.
Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have not merely been your abject slave and servant, soaring on the pinions of a possibly monstrous ambition. I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me that you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it? Is that the beginning of a new paragraph, or should it be followed by a note of admiration?
It's the beginning of an entirely new existence for me, and it shall be followed by such notes of admiration that my whole life shall be a subtle and sustained symphony of love, praise, and adoration combined.
The door is waiting, sir.
Don't you come around next week at the same hour?
Yes, sir.
I don't think Uncle Jack would be so pleased if he knew you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care for anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy! Of course! Why, we've been engaged for the past 3 months.
For the past 3 months.
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And of course the man who has much talked about is always very much admired. One feels there must be something in him after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, Ernest, but I fell in love with you.
Darling, when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last, worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to make
dear child, you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what other name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name of Algernon.
Well, my own sweet, loving little darling, I really can't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. It is not at all a bad name. In fact, it's a rather aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. Seriously, sister, if my name was Algernon, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I feel I could not give you my undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in the rites and practices of all the ceremonials of the church?
Oh, yes. Dr. Chesham is the most learned man. He's never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I'll see him at once on a most important christening. I mean, a most important business.
Oh.
I shan't be away more than half an hour.
Considering that we have only been engaged since February 14th, and that I've only just met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period. Half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What a dear romantic boy he is. I like his hair so much. I seem to have a pencil in my diary.
Well, Miss Fairfax is called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax, right?
Is it Mr. Worthing in his library?
He went over in the direction of the rectorate some time ago.
Pray, ask the lady to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon. And you may bring the tea.
Yes, miss.
Miss Fairfax. Undoubtedly one of the many good elderly women associated with Uncle Jack and some of his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it is so bold.
Miss Fairfax.
Pray, allow me to introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew is a very sweet name. Something tells me we are going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say, and my first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we have known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray, sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
It is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this might be a favourable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose?
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I'm glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man, and certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mama's views on education are remarkably strict. This brought me out to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of the system. So do you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Oh, not at all, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh, no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some other female relative of advanced years resides here also?
Oh, no, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My guardian, with the assistance of this prison, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh, Miss McFitchin to me as a ward. How secretive of you. It grows more interesting hourly. I am not sure, however, that this news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. Cecily, I am very fond of you. I have liked you ever since I met you. But I am bound to state that now that I know that you are Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were, well, just a little older than you appear to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly,
Pray do. I think that whenever one has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He's the very soul of truth and honor. This loyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history, supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, indeed, history would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon, but did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me he had a brother.
Well, I'm sorry to say that they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I look at it, I have never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious, and it would be terrible if a cloud had come across a friendship like ours. Of course, you are quite sure it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I am going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Dearest Gwendolyn, there is no reason I should make a secret of it to you now. I will account a newspaper sure to chronicle it back next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
There must be some misconception. Ernest proposed to me only 10 minutes ago.
It is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife only yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. I'm so sorry, dear sister, if it is any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dearest Gwendolyn, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish, but I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he has really changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once, and with a firm hand.
Whatever foolish entanglement my dear boy may have gotten himself into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
How dare you suggest that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? Now is no time for Ernest's shallow masculine manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, Miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Yes, from the top of one of the hills quite close, one can see close to 5 counties.
5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
Oh, I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden, this is Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here as people are in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody who is anybody does, the country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what the newspapers call agricultural repression, is it not? I believe the ancestors here are suffering from it greatly at present. There's almost an epidemic amongst them, I am told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea. Sugar? Oh, no thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore. invariably right.
No doubt I am trespassing on your valuable time, Miss Fairfax. Undoubtedly you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Ernest, my own Ernest.
Gwendolyn, darling.
A moment. May I ask if you're engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Of course not. Who could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you.
I knew there must be some misconception. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my dear guardian, Mr. John Rowan.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack? Oh,
Here's Ernest.
My own love.
Ernest, a moment. May I ask, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
To what young lady? Gwendolyn?
Yes, to good to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. Who could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I know there must be some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief. Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name certainly is John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been played on both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet boy.
Always told me, sister, won't you?
There is just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, I have just one question to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? Both of us are engaged to be married to your brother Ernest. So it is a matter of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, it pains me very much to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I've ever been reduced to such a painful position. I'm really quite inexperienced in doing anything of the kind. However, I would tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I've never had a brother. Never had a brother in my life. And I certainly not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
Have you never a brother of any kind?
Never. Not even of any kind.
I'm afraid it is quite clear, dear Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone.
It is not a very pleasant position to find oneself in, is it?
Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to follow us there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of things is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, and a perfectly wonderful buttery it is too. The most wonderful buttery I've ever had in my life.
We have no right whatsoever bunbury here.
It's absurd. What is the right to bunbury whenever one chooses? Every serious bunburist knows that.
Serious bunbury is good heavens.
Well, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusement in life. I happen to be serious about bunbury. What you are serious about, I haven't got the remotest idea. About everything, I should fancy. You have such an absolutely trivial nature.
The only small satisfaction I have in this entire wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite explosive. You won't be able to go down to the country as often as you used to via Algie, and a very good thing it is.
Your brother's a little off color, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to visit to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was. Not a bad thing either.
As for your conduct toward Miss Cardew, I think you've taken in a sweet, simple, innocent girl that's quite inexcusable. To say nothing of the fact she's my ward.
I can see no possible defense for your deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax. To say nothing of the fact that she is my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to one of them. That is all. I love her.
But I simply wanted to be engaged to Caesar. I adore her.
There's certainly no chance of you marrying Miss Cardew.
I don't think there's much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax being united.
That is no business of yours.
What if it was my business? I wouldn't talk about it. It's very vulgar to talk about one's business.
make it out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs.
I see perfectly heartless at all, you're eating muffins under the circumstances.
When I'm in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I'm in really great trouble, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything but food and drink. At the present moment, I'm eating muffins because I'm unhappy. Besides, I'm particularly fond of muffins.
Well, that's no reason why you should eat them all in a greedy way.
I wish we had tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake.
Good heavens! I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden.
But you have just said it was perfectly heartless to eat muffins.
I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances.
Well, that may be, but the muffins are the same.
Algy, I wish to goodness you'd go.
You can't possibly ask me to go without my dinner. It's absurd. I never go without my dinner. Nobody ever does. Except vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I have just made arrangements with Dr. Chesterton to be christened at 6:15 under the name of Earnest.
My dear Philip, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I've already made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chesterton to be christened myself at 5:30. And I would ask you to take the name of Earnest. When you would wish it. We can't both be christened Earnest. It's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There's no evidence at all that I ever had been christened. I should think it extremely probable I never was. And so does Dr. Chesterton. It is very different in your case. You have been christened already.
Yes, but I've not been christened for years.
Yes, that was the goal.
Quite so I know my constitution can stand it. If you're not quite sure of your never having been christened, I must say I think it rather dangerous that you're venturing on it now. It might make you very unwell. You can hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected to you was very nearly carried off in Paris this week by a severe chill.
Yes, but you said so yourself that a severe chill was hereditary.
It used to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science always get one of them things.